If there was a book telling everybody the road to get from where you are to becoming a first-time film director, I'm quite sure this book would be a bestseller these days. But unfortunately, such a book doesn't exist. We all have different roads, different paths. We're all coming from different places. So the only thing I can do with you today is share my own experience, and hopefully it will inspire you, it will guide you, it will shed a light on maybe what you should expect to go through to make your first feature film. Welcome back to the show. My name is Simon, and today, yes, I'm going to share with you my experience from the day I started going into movie making to the day I was ready to shoot my first feature film. Script in hand here, medium brown 35 in 2 books, 120 pages, ready to be shot. Was supposed to shoot this movie 2016, but I've pushed it back twice now, so I'm not giving any date. It's over. It's there. One day I'm going to do it. I'm ready. The most important thing is that I did my homework, and my journey is done. It's just a matter of shooting my movie by myself, which will probably be in some other episode telling my journey about that. But now it's all about getting to that point, ready to shoot your first feature. Well, how it happened to me? Well, first I started as an actor. I had a dream when I was young to become an actor, but I went doing something else. And 12 years ago, I had the chance to start learning the craft of an actor by attending workshops. I did that for 3 years, and I've been playing in a lot of short films, feature films, independent films. I've been in international movies with superstars like Jason Statham. I've worked with him 6 days. I've been with Michael Madsen and many more local and international stars. I learned my craft as an actor. I've been on sets a lot, learning, watching everybody, trying to be, even when I was not in front of the camera, even when I was in lunchtime break, I was always trying to stay or look at the camera, look at what was happening on set, try to learn the craft, which served me when a few years later I decided to make my own short film, because I didn't got the work that the roles that I was expecting, even though I've played in many films, student films, independent films, like I said, short and feature film. It was not enough for me. It was not going fast enough, so I've learned the craft of making movies, which is this series, How to Become a Film Director, is all about. But now, what I did, so I've learned acting, which is the first thing that I will recommend you. Go take some acting class. It's, I think, very important. You can go without it, but I've heard recently, and I've heard it many times, that the best film directors are also actors. You need to attend acting classes, workshops. Go, and even if you don't want to be an actor, go and register, enroll yourself in some workshops, just to have the feel of what it is to be on stage or in front of a camera, and learn how to communicate with the director, which is the teacher in that case. Or if you don't feel having what it takes, or you're not comfortable in front of a camera, which I think you should learn to be comfortable. But if you don't, at least go as an observer if you don't want to be a participant. Very important to attend acting classes, to know how to communicate with an actor. You will also learn and sharpen your vision of what is a good performance and what is a not so good performance. Before I took acting classes, I thought I knew what was a good actor, what was a good performance, and what was not. But I find out that I didn't know at all. I thought I knew, but I didn't. But by taking acting classes, by seeing the same scene being performed by many different actors, I saw the difference between one thing and another, different things of different interpretation of the same scene. Also, it will open an entire world in front of you. You will see how different a scene could be played by different actors, or even sometimes by the same actor if the teacher tells him to do it totally differently. So very, very constructive to go and take some acting classes, or at least attend some acting classes, not once, not twice, but a few weeks, if not a month or more. Go learn what it is to be a good actor and how to communicate with actors. Also, you need to make short films. I've talked about it in the past. Very important. Take a camera. Any camera will do. Your smartphone, but I suggest if you can afford a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, learn the language of a camera, how it works, aperture, shutter speed, lens, and all that stuff. It's quite important to learn that. So make short films. At the beginning, you can improvise them, but at some point you will need to learn how to write short films. Do plenty of short films. Here in my hand, I have 7 short films. Some of them I made, some of them I never made, but I wrote them. In fact, I wrote probably more like 20-25 short films. Here I have 7, which, like I said, some of them I never shot, but at least while I was writing them, I learned a lot. So it's by writing that you will learn how to write. And it's very important to learn how to write. If you want to convince people to get on board with you, director of photography, actors, and stuff like that, they will all ask for your script before getting involved with you. So write short films and shoot short films. Then you will start to get the feel of everything. You will start, when you will be facing, whether it's your computer or if you right hand your script, when you will get in that place where you are just a stenographer writing down what you hear your characters talking to each other in your head, that is when you got at the right place, and you can tell yourself that, okay, I'm now in the sweet spot. That's how it's made. That's how we write a story. You don't need to know the end of each scene that you're writing. The characters will reveal it to yourself. It will reveal itself to you. The story will come to you. What is important is to have an idea of what's happening, and you put your characters in a situation. You have a description of the scene. It's happening in this location, and they're going to have an argument about that, and then you let them talk to each other, and you stenograph. You write down what you hear. Don't judge yourself on what you're writing, and don't think about what you're writing. Oh, I'm writing too much, it's going to be too long. Write everything you hear in that conversation, and then at the end, just keep what is good, or maybe you will keep all of it. In my case, I rarely take off a piece of dialogue. Most of the time I keep it all, and even more than that is when I read it again, I add some more lines, because I like movies with a lot of dialogue. When it's good dialogue, it's very entertaining. So that's when you will know that you are in a trance, you are in the sweet spot, and that's when the bug will bit you. You will start falling in love with writing when you hear your characters talking to each other like that. Now that you've learned how to write and you've experienced yourself as a film director, you will need to have your spark. You will need to have your idea. In my case, it came out of nowhere, where I was not expecting it at all. At some point, I went with a friend of mine. We went at a theater here near to where I live. A movie was showing. It was a movie which had a lot of buzz when it went to Sundance Film Festival, and we wanted to see that movie to know what it takes to create a buzz at Sundance Film Festival. And we saw that movie. We came out of this theater, my partner and I, we were looking at each other, and we could not believe what we had just see. It was so bizarre, so strange, so ordinary, without telling the title because I don't want to offend anybody, but we looked at each other and I said to him, hey, if that's a successful movie in terms of standards in film festival, I can write something like that for sure. And he looked at me and he said, you bet we can. And so I decided that day, I said, you know what, I'm going to start writing a story. I'm going to start writing a feature film. I was not too sure what I wanted to write, but I said, hey, I'm going to get inspired by that, and I'm going to create something which is, well, not similar, but I'm just going to take the inspiration. And my partner and I went to, in the following weeks, we went in coffee shops about 3, 4, 5 times maybe, pitching ideas about 2 characters, him and me, because we're both actors. And we knew the differences that are separating us. We're totally different in age and nationality and stuff like that. So we were putting just bits and pieces, scene by scene. In this scene, that could happen. This could happen to those characters. This, that, and that, and that, and so forth. And we had a lot of things that would be fun to have in a movie, things that were supposed to happen between those 2 characters. And then at some point, we started having a vision of the big picture, what the story was going to be about. And the more we were talking and brainstorming, we had maybe something like 25 ideas, which are all in this book here. This is the book which led me to write Medium Brown 35. This is, if I open it here, you're going to see a lot of things here. Sometimes we were just writing scene by scene. So the description of the scene, we're in that location, this could happen. This location, that could happen. And sometimes I was inspired by, see, this is scene by scene, scene by scene, scene by scene. And eventually I had ideas of writing dialogues for some scenes. And then I started writing some dialogues. And I had the description of the scene, and I was starting to write some dialogue. So I wrote plenty of stuff in our meetings, and then I said, I think I have enough. I kind of have a skeleton of an idea of the movie that I want to write. So I came here home in front of my computer, and I started putting all of that in a script form and started putting all the pieces of the puzzle at the right place and started developing each scenes. And at first I had something like 80 pages. Then I rewrote it to maybe close to 100 pages. And then my final draft, my third draft, was 120 pages. And then when I had that, it took me a few months, maybe a year and a half, because I was working for a few months on it, and then I was going to do something else to refresh my memory, and I was coming back 4, 5, 6 months later and working on it again. And at some point I had the complete story, and the only thing that I had to do, and I did it many times, I was going through a story, just rewriting, just putting the dialogue, putting them better to have them sound more musical, if you want. Try to choose better words sometimes to say the same thing. And I did that many times until I've decided that that's my story. It can be any better than that. Well, it can, but it will just, I would just be working and changing a word here and a word there. So I said, that's my final draft. For the rest, we will adjust everything on set. And that led me to this feature film here. So there's 120 page here in a script format here. There's also pictures because we also shot a fake trailer of that movie. So when I'm telling you that I'm ready to shoot, we're ready, very ready to shoot. We've rehearsed many scenes. We went on location scouting. So ready to shoot. It's just a matter of time before we shoot that movie. So that's my story. That's how I did it. Learn acting in acting class. Shoot short films. Learn to write short films. Get your idea. whatever you take your idea and start writing scene by scene, bits and pieces of the story, even if you don't have everything which will happen in the story. There will be things that you would want to happen in your story, so write those down. And at some point you will have whatever, 10, 15, 25, 50 things that you would want to happen in the movie, and then start putting them in the right order in your computer or handwriting if you want. And then you will see the structure appear in front of you. And when you will want to develop every scene, just by having a good description of each scene, you would just put your character in that scene and you would just listen to them talk. And you write, stenograph, write. And don't judge, but at the end, just keep what is good, take out what is bad, and you will have your script. That's my story, that's my journey, that's my tip for you to write your first feature film. I hope you liked it. See you next time.